Who's inside a cage right now?
Hey guys, Society Reviews here, my review of the film Abigail. It's been a rough road to promoting the latest Universal Pictures film entitled Abigail for a multitude of reasons. Actress Melissa Barrera was cast as the lead in this film based on her work in the previous Scream 5 and Scream 6 movies. However, it'd only be a few months later that Barrera was publicly fired for taking the side of Palestine in the ongoing conflict with the nation of Israel. Since then, the actress has been on Hollywood's bad side for her refusal to walk back her support in the Middle Eastern war. It doesn't help to try to bring attention away from their lead actress when the two directors and the two writers of this movie worked on the previous Scream film she was just fired from. Her co-star Kathryn Newton hasn't had it much better. She was just in the box office flop Lisa Frankenstein, which didn't even make back its $13 million production budget, along being critically panned as well. To make matters worse, last summer actor Angus Cloud died of a drug overdose just mere days before completing his scenes for the movie, meaning that the actor will be getting an immemorial treatment before the film's release. Needless to say, Universal has had a tough time navigating around the controversy to promote their latest film entitled Abigail. Abigail is a horror film about a group of kidnappers who take a 12-year-old girl overnight and attempt to hold her for 24 hours with the promise of getting $7 million payout for each person. The job seems simple enough until the criminals realize that they have been locked inside the house from the inside. As members of the team begin to get picked off one by one, they realize they've been brought to the house under false pretense because the home is not the home of the kidnappers, but it's the home of the little girl herself. A little girl who has a big secret that she's keeping from the rest of the group. She's a vampire. The criminals have no choice but to survive the night against a bloodthirsty ballerina vampire who has turned her kidnapping into a hunting game for sport. Abigail as a film has a lot to like for horror fans who are looking for their latest thrill ride. The premise is pretty straightforward. 6 people are locked inside of a mansion under the guise that if they wait 24 hours, a massive payday awaits them. Melissa Barrera plays an ex-junkie who's looking to reconnect with her family. Kathryn Newton plays a rich girl who has an affinity for cybercrime. Dan Stevens is a dirty cop looking to advance by dirty means. Kevin Durant is the muscle who's pretty much good at nothing else outside of being the biggest man in the room. Will Catlett is the black guy who dies second in the movie. And Angus Cloud has the task of playing a drug-addicted wigger, begging the question whether he was actually acting in the movie to begin with. The group has excellent chemistry working with one another as their characters are given more dynamic in how they interact and how their stories align with one another, so the film never comes off as generic. The film is a night and day comparison to what the creative team behind this movie has done with the latest Scream films that focus far too much on marking off its DEI checkboxes rather than making an entertaining film. With a low-budget thriller that doesn't have a franchise name attached to it, the writers and the directors can produce a lot more entertainment, not having to work within the shackles of a franchise. Don't expect a lesson about morals in this film, as our characters are simply a group of bad people who try to kidnap a young girl, only to find out that that girl is a living embodiment of evil. On one level, it's hard to feel sorry for the fate of our characters, but at the same time, their deaths are so over the top, it provides a great entertainment factor for those watching. The biggest flaw in this film comes in the third act when the movie tries to draw a line in the sand about who is considered good and who is considered evil. Without going into spoilers, the ending of the film is a series of cop-outs that the writers came up with to avoid delivering the deserved fate of their teenage demon child. The poor creative decisions in the final act hurt the film from being a great movie rather than a really good. With that said, Abigail is a bloody, bombastic horror film and has just enough charisma from a talented cast to separate it from the sea of generic and dry horror films that Hollywood has produced over the last several months. Abigail may have stumbled at the finish line, but it's still a good race overall. I give this film a 3.5 out of 5.
I'm sorry about what's gonna happen to you.
We kidnapped a vampire.